Welcome, Spicy Lady. The greatest conversations you will ever have are the ones you have with yourself. Have you ever wondered why some women genuinely enjoy staying home, even when they have plenty of opportunities to go out? People often assume they are lonely, antisocial, shy, or missing out on life. But what if the truth is far more interesting than that? What if staying home is not an escape from life, but a conscious decision to protect something far more valuable than entertainment or social approval? A spicy Lady-Sigma does not measure the quality of her life by how busy her calendar looks or how many invitations she receives. She pays close attention to how people, places, and environments affect her mind. She has learned that not every gathering adds value, not every conversation deserves her energy, and not every opportunity is worth saying yes to. Over time, she begins choosing quality over quantity, depth over noise, and peace over constant activity. This is not about fear of people or avoiding the world. It is about understanding herself so well that she no longer feels pressured to follow the crowd. There is a powerful psychology behind this choice that most people completely overlook. Stay with me until the end, because each point builds on the last, and by the end you may see this behavior in a completely different light. That if you enjoy thoughtful discussions like this, share your thoughts in the comments. Share this video with someone who will relate to it, and subscribe to join our community. Thank you for your support. Now, let's get started, Spicy Lady. Number 1, her greatest relationship is with the person she must live with forever. Friends change. Partners may leave, careers end, society constantly shifts. The only permanent companion is herself. One of the biggest reasons a spicy Lady-Sigma feels comfortable staying home is because she understands something that many people do not realize until much later in life. The longest relationship she will ever have is not with a partner, a best friend, or even her family. It is with herself. Everyone else may come and go, but she wakes up with her own thoughts every morning and falls asleep with them every night. That changes the way she lives. While many people spend years trying to build relationships with everyone around them, she spends time building a healthy relationship with her own mind. She wants to know who she is when nobody is watching, what she truly believes, what makes her happy, and what kind of life actually gives her peace. Those answers are not usually found in crowded places or endless social plans. They are often discovered during quiet evenings, slow mornings, and moments when there is nothing to distract her from herself. Think about how many people cannot sit alone for even 30 minutes without reaching for their phone, turning on the television, or calling someone. Silence makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to face thoughts they have been avoiding. A spicy Lady-Sigma sees those same moments differently. She uses them to reflect, learn, heal, and grow. She knows that if she cannot enjoy her own company, no relationship with another person will ever truly fill that gap. That is why staying home feels less like hiding and more like strengthening her foundation. She is creating emotional stability that does not depend on who stays, who leaves, or who disappoints her. When she eventually lets someone into her life, it is not because she needs them to complete her. It is because she has already learned how to enjoy her own company and wants to share a life she has already built. That quiet confidence cannot be borrowed from anyone else. It is earned through the simple habit of becoming someone she genuinely enjoys living with every single day. Number 2, home is the only place where her identity isn't being negotiated. For a spicy Lady-Sigma, home is much more than a place to eat or sleep. It is the one place where she can simply exist without feeling like she has to adjust herself for anyone else. The moment she steps into many social settings, there are often invisible expectations waiting for her. Speak a little more. Speak a little less. Smile more. Be more outgoing. Be more agreeable. Dress a certain way. Act a certain way. Even when people never say these things out loud, the pressure is there, quietly shaping how people behave. Over time, she begins to notice how exhausting it is to keep making these small adjustments. Each one may seem harmless, but together they slowly pull her away from who she really is. She starts asking herself a simple question, if I have to keep changing parts of myself just to fit in, am I really being accepted, or am I just being tolerated? That is why home becomes so valuable to her. Behind her own door, there is no audience to satisfy and no role to play. If she feels like reading for hours, she reads. If she wants silence, she enjoys it. If she wants to laugh out loud at something ridiculous or spend the evening thinking about life, She does it without worrying about how it looks. That freedom is deeply refreshing because it allows her personality to stay consistent instead of constantly adapting to different people. Think about someone who speaks differently at work, behaves differently with friends, and acts like a completely different person around family. After a while, it becomes difficult to remember which version is actually real. A SpicyLady-Sigma works hard to avoid that confusion. She values living from the same core identity wherever she goes. This is one of the hidden reasons she enjoys staying home. It is the one environment where her mind can finally relax because it no longer has to calculate how she should in that quiet space. She reconnects with her real thoughts, her real preferences, and the version of herself that exists when nobody is trying to shape who she should become. That kind of inner consistency is rare, and once she experiences it, she refuses to trade it for temporary social comfort. Number 3. She protects her mental bandwidth like a limited resource. A SpicyLady-Sigma understands something that many people learn only after years of feeling exhausted. Her attention is one of the most valuable things she owns. Once it is spent, she cannot simply get it back by sleeping for a few hours. That is why she protects it with great care. She knows that every conversation, every invitation, every phone call, and every unnecessary obligation asks for a piece of her mental energy. If she gives that energy away without thinking, she has very little left for the things that truly matter. Most people are careful with money, but careless with attention. They will spend hours listening to gossip, arguing online, attending events they never wanted to attend, or saying yes to people they wanted to say no to. At the end of the day, they wonder why they feel mentally drained. Even though they did nothing meaningful. A SpicyLady-Sigma notices this pattern early. She realizes that being busy is not the same as being productive, and being surrounded by people does not always mean she is living well. Think about someone who spends 3 hours scrolling through social media, replies to messages they do not even enjoy, attends a gathering out of guilt, then comes home too tired to read, learn a new skill, or work on a personal goal. The day disappeared, but very little was gained. A SpicyLady-Sigma sees that as an expensive trade. That is why staying home often feels like an investment instead of a sacrifice. She would rather spend an evening reading a great book, learning something useful, planning her future, or simply sitting quietly with her thoughts than filling her schedule with activities that leave her feeling empty. She understands that where attention goes, life follows. She also knows that every unnecessary commitment quietly steals focus from something more important. Saying yes to everything often means saying no to yourself without realizing it. This is not about avoiding people. It is about protecting the mind from becoming overcrowded. She wants her thoughts to remain clear instead of constantly interrupted. She values quality over quantity, purpose over pressure, and meaningful moments over endless distractions. That is why her time alone is never wasted. It is where she guards the one resource that shapes every decision, every dream, and every future success. Her ability to think clearly. Number 4, she doesn't fear loneliness. She fears mental contamination. One thing that separates a SpicyLady-Sigma from many people is that she does not confuse being alone with being lonely. Those are two completely different experiences. She can spend an entire day by herself and still feel peaceful, inspired, and emotionally balanced. What truly makes her uncomfortable is something far less obvious. It is spending too much time around people whose habits, attitudes, and conversations slowly pull her away from the person she wants to become. She understands that the mind is always absorbing something. Every complaint she listens to, every piece of gossip she hears, every manipulative relationship she stays in, and every negative environment she enters leaves a small mark. One conversation may not seem important, but repeated over weeks and months, those influences begin shaping the way a person thinks without them even realizing it. Think about someone who spends every lunch break with coworkers who constantly criticize other people. At first, they simply listen. After a while, they start joining in. Eventually, negativity becomes normal. They never planned to change, but they did. That is how mental contamination works. It is usually quiet, gradual, and almost invisible. A SpicyLady-Sigma pays attention to this. She knows that if she constantly surrounds herself with fear, comparison, drama, or emotional chaos, some of it will eventually become part of her own thinking. That is a price she is not willing to pay. This is why she often chooses a quiet evening at home over a gathering filled with meaningless conversations or unnecessary tension. It is not because she thinks she is better than anyone else. It is because she knows her mind deserves the same protection people give their body. Just as she would not eat spoiled food because it damages her health, she refuses to consume conversations and environments that slowly damage her thinking. She would rather feed her mind with books, meaningful ideas, creativity, peaceful reflection, or genuine conversations that leave her wiser than before. She knows that whatever enters the mind repeatedly eventually shapes character. That is the hidden wisdom behind her choice. She is not hiding from loneliness. She is guarding the quality of her thoughts, because once the mind becomes crowded with other people's fears, opinions, and emotional chaos, it becomes much harder to hear your own inner voice. Number 5, she is studying herself more than she is studying other people. A spicy lady Sigma spends far less time trying to figure other people out than most people expect. Instead, she turns that curiosity inward. While many people can tell you everything about a celebrity, a coworker, a neighbor, or even a stranger on social media, they struggle to answer simple questions about themselves. Why do I react this way? Why do certain situations drain me? What habits keep holding me back? What am I afraid to admit to myself? A spicy lady Sigma believes those questions are far more important. That is one of the biggest reasons she enjoys spending time at home. That IT gives her space to observe herself without distractions. She notices her patterns instead of blaming every problem on someone else. That if she loses her patience, she asks, why? If she keeps making the same mistake, she looks for the root cause instead of making excuses. She understands that real growth begins with honest self-observation, not constant finger-pointing. Think about how easy it is to judge someone else's life. We often say, she should have left that relationship. Or, he always makes bad decisions. But when it comes to our own lives, we often avoid asking the hard questions. A spicy lady Sigma does the opposite. She knows that understanding herself gives her more control over her future than analyzing other people's choices ever will. She also accepts that she has blind spots. Everyone does. Instead of pretending she has everything figured out, she stays curious about her own mind. She pays attention to the habits that strengthen her and the ones that quietly weaken her. That honesty helps her make better decisions over time. This is why staying home is rarely boring for her. It becomes a place where she reflects, learns, reads, writes, and notices things about herself that would be easy to miss in a busy life. Every quiet moment becomes an opportunity to understand her own mind a little better. In the end, she knows something many people overlook. You can spend your whole life becoming an expert on everyone else and still remain a stranger to yourself. She refuses to let that happen. She believes the greatest discovery is not finding out who other people are. It is discovering who you are when the noise finally fades and there is nobody left to influence your thinking. Number 6, she understands that every environment leaves a psychological fingerprint. A spicy lady Sigma pays attention to something that many people overlook. She knows that every place she spends time in leaves a mark on her mind. It may not happen overnight, and it may not even be noticeable at first, but every environment quietly shapes the way a person thinks, feels, and behaves. That is why she never chooses places based only on what is popular. She chooses them based on how she feels after she leaves. Have you ever noticed how some places leave you feeling calm and motivated, while others leave you feeling tense, exhausted, or strangely unsettled? There are offices where everyone complains, social circles where gossip never stops, and gatherings where people compete over who has the better life. Spend enough time in those environments, and you may slowly start thinking the same way without realizing it. A spicy lady Sigma is aware of this. Silent influence. She understands that human beings naturally absorb the attitudes around them, that if she constantly surrounds herself with chaos, her mind becomes restless. If she surrounds herself with people who complain about everything, she may eventually find herself doing the same. It is not because she lacks strength. It is because environments shape habits more than people like to admit. Think about someone who starts exercising because all their friends enjoy staying active. Now imagine someone else who spends every weekend with people who waste hours complaining. but never solving problems. Both people are being shaped by their surroundings. The difference is that one environment builds them, while the other slowly drains them. This is one reason a spicy Lady Sigma enjoys staying home. She has intentionally created a space that reflects the life she wants to live. That IT may be filled with books that challenge her thinking, music that helps her relax, a clean room that clears her mind, or simply the quiet she cannot find anywhere else. Her home supports her instead of pulling her in different directions. She believes that success is not only about making better decisions. It is also about choosing better environments. The place you return to every day quietly becomes part of who you are. That is why she protects her surroundings so carefully. She knows that if an environment can shape your habits, then it can also shape your future. She would rather build a life in a place that strengthens her mind than spend years adapting to spaces that slowly weaken it. Number 7. Her home has become an extension of her mind. Every object, routine, book, sound, and corner reflects intentional choices. She designs her environment to think clearly instead of simply decorating a place to impress visitors. For a spicy Lady Sigma, home is not just where she lives. It is a reflection of how she thinks. Walk into her space and you may not find the most expensive furniture or the latest trends. What you are more likely to notice is intention. Everything has a reason for being there. Every book on the shelf, every routine she follows, every quiet corner, and even the sound she chooses to fill the room with all support the kind of person she wants to become. Many people decorate their homes for guests. They ask themselves, what will people think when they walk in? A spicy Lady Sigma asks a completely different question. How does this space make me feel when I wake up every morning? That single question changes everything. She is not interested in creating a home that looks impressive for 10 minutes. She wants a home that supports her mind every single day. She understands that clutter is not always physical. Sometimes a crowded room creates a crowded mind. Constant noise can make it harder to think clearly. Endless distractions can quietly steal creativity and focus. That is why she pays attention to small details that most people ignore. A clean desk encourages clear thinking. A comfortable chair invites quiet reflection. A bookshelf reminds her to keep learning. Even a simple cup of coffee enjoyed in silence can become a daily ritual that helps her slow down and reconnect with herself. Think about the difference between walking into a room where the television is always blasting, clothes are scattered everywhere, and every surface feels chaotic compared to entering a peaceful space where everything has its place. Without anyone saying a word, your mind reacts differently. One environment pulls your attention in every direction. The other gives your thoughts room to breathe. This is why staying home feels meaningful to her. She has created an environment that protects her focus instead of competing for IT. IT is a place where she can think deeply, recover from a demanding day, explore new ideas, or simply enjoy the rare gift of silence. She knows that people are shaped by the spaces they return to every day. So, instead of building a home that earns compliments from visitors, she builds one that quietly strengthens her character, sharpens her thinking, and gives her peace long after everyone else has gone home. That is why her home is not just a place she lives. It becomes an extension of the person she is becoming. Number 8. She doesn't escape the world. She watches it more clearly from a distance. Stepping back allows her to notice patterns others miss. Many people assume that when a spicy Lady Sigma spends more time at home, she is disconnecting from the world. The truth is often the complete opposite. She is not running away from life. She is creating enough distance to see it more clearly. Sometimes the best way to understand what is happening is to stop standing in the middle of it. Think about trying to read a large painting while your face is pressed against the canvas. You only see random colors and scattered brushstrokes. Take a few steps back, and the entire picture suddenly makes sense. A spicy Lady Sigma approaches life the same way. She knows that constant involvement can make people emotionally attached to situations they no longer see objectively. Distance often reveals what closeness hides. This is why she is not always quick to join every argument, every trend, or every popular opinion. She prefers to watch first. She notices who suddenly changes their values when it becomes convenient. She notices the fake connections that only exist when someone needs a favor. She notices how quickly people follow the crowd without asking whether the crowd is moving in the right direction. For example, a new trend appears online, and within days, everyone seems to have the same opinion. A SpicyLady-Sigma does not rush to repeat what everyone else is saying. She asks herself where the idea came from, who benefits from it, and whether people have actually thought it through. While others react, she reflects. This habit also helps her recognize manipulation. She understands that emotions can cloud judgment. When people feel pressured, excited, angry, or afraid, they often make decisions they later regret. By stepping back instead of reacting immediately, she gives herself time to think. That pause protects her from being pulled into unnecessary drama or influenced by temporary emotions. Her time at home gives her that space. It allows her to process what she has observed without hundreds of voices competing for her attention. She can connect patterns that others overlook because they are too busy keeping up with the next distraction. That is why her distance should never be mistaken for indifference. She still cares about people and the world around her. She simply understands that clear thinking often requires quiet observation. Sometimes the person who sees the most is not the one standing at the center of the crowd. It is the one who is calm enough to step back, pay attention, and notice what everyone else was too distracted to see. Number 9, she is building a life that doesn't require constant escape. Many people leave home because home feels empty. She stays because she has intentionally built a home filled with learning, creativity, peace, and personal meaning. One of the quietest signs of a SpicyLady-Sigma is that she is not constantly looking for a reason to get away from her own life. Many people spend their weekdays dreaming about the weekend, their weekends planning the next vacation, and their vacations dreading the return to everyday life. Without realizing it, they are always searching for an escape. A SpicyLady-Sigma asks herself a different question. What if I build a life I did not need to run from in the first place? That simple shift changes everything. She does not stay home because there is nothing happening outside. She stays because she has made sure there is something meaningful happening inside. Her home is not just a place where time passes. It is where ideas grow, skills improve, books are finished, goals are planned, and peace is protected. While someone else may see an ordinary evening, she sees an opportunity to invest in herself. Think about two people who both have a free Saturday. One spends the entire day trying to avoid boredom by jumping from one activity to another, hoping something exciting happens. The other enjoys reading, learning a new recipe, working on a personal project, listening to music, writing in a journal, or simply sitting quietly while thinking about the direction of life. Both stayed busy, but only one finished the day feeling deeply fulfilled instead of simply entertained. A SpicyLady-Sigma understands that happiness cannot depend on constant excitement. Excitement comes and goes. A meaningful life lasts much longer. That is why she creates daily routines that give her a sense of purpose even when nobody else is around. She knows that if she cannot enjoy an ordinary day, no amount of special occasions will ever be enough. This mindset also protects her from making desperate choices. She is less likely to stay in unhealthy relationships, force friendships, or chase every invitation just to avoid being alone. She has already built a life that feels rich without needing constant outside stimulation. That is why staying home never feels like missing out to her. It feels like returning to a place where her mind can grow, her creativity can breathe, and her peace remains untouched. She has turned her home into more than a shelter. She has turned it into a life she genuinely enjoys living. When your everyday life already feels meaningful, you stop spending so much energy searching for an escape. The quality of your life is often decided by the quality of the space where you spend your quietest moments. The next time you see a SpicyLady-Sigma choosing a quiet evening at home instead of another social event, do not be too quick to assume she is lonely or missing out. There's a good chance she is doing something far more valuable. She is protecting her mind, strengthening her character, and building a life that feels meaningful even when nobody else is around. The world often celebrates being busy, constantly connected, and always available. But a SpicyLady-Sigma has discovered that a full calendar does not always create a full life. Sometimes the greatest growth happens in ordinary moments that nobody applauds. It happens while reading a book, learning a new skill, reflecting on past mistakes, or simply enjoying the peace that comes from being comfortable in your own company. Staying home is not the goal. Living with intention is that if a gathering brings genuine connection, she is happy to be there. If it only brings pressure, comparison, or unnecessary drama, she has no problem choosing peace instead. She understands that every decision either strengthens her inner world or slowly weakens it. Perhaps that is the real lesson for all of us. Instead of asking why someone enjoys being alone, maybe we should ask whether we have built a life that we genuinely enjoy returning to every day. That answer reveals far more than any personality label ever could. If you enjoyed this video, drop a comment down below and share your biggest takeaway. Subscribe for more thoughtful content tailored for every spicy Lady Sigma. And share this video with someone who needs to hear this today. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel and leave a thoughtful comment down below. Your support means the world to every spicy Lady Sigma growing in peace and self-awareness. Thank you for watching and God bless you.